Well, U.S. President Barack Obama has invited Republican and Democrat leaders to the White House for negotiations on the so-called fiscal cliff. The impending tax rises and spending cuts could send the U.S. back into recession.
Obama said he's open to compromise and new ideas. He said he'll invite Republican House Speaker John Boehner to the White House next week to look for common ground. Boehner said higher taxes just for the wealthy are unacceptable. Still, Republicans and Democrats agree on the need to avoid a so-called fiscal cliff. Attention is now focused on whether they can narrow their differences on higher taxes for the rich.
This so-called fiscal cliff gets its name because at the end of this calendar year, if Congress does nothing, Bush-era tax rates expire, raising everybody's taxes. The payroll tax cut expires. The alternative minimum tax kicks in. Emergency unemployment benefits end. And $984 billion in automatic cuts in both defense and domestic budgets are triggered. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that would cause the economy to take a significant hit, raising unemployment to 9.1% by the end of next year. But the real political sticking point is taxes. The president called on Congress to extend tax cuts for people making less than $250,000 and then drew this line in the sand.
Tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts. Try a tax cut.
Still today, the president said the debate had been settled with his victory Tuesday night.
This was a central question during the election. It was debated over and over again. And on Tuesday night, we found out that the majority of Americans agree with my approach.
And he threw down the gauntlet, saying everyone agrees on keeping the middle-class tax cuts for those who make under $200,000 a year. So he said, Congress should act on that now.
And I've got the pen, ready to sign the bill right away. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to do it.
The automatic tax increases and spending cuts that essentially kick in, they would take effect if no deal is reached by the end of the year. Now, he supports continued tax breaks for Americans making less than $250,000 a year.
I'm not wedded to every detail of my plan. I'm open to compromise. I'm open to new ideas. I'm committed to solving our fiscal challenges. But I refuse to accept any approach that isn't balanced. If Congress fails to come to an agreement on an overall deficit reduction package by the end of the year, everybody's taxes will automatically go up on January 1st. Everybody's, including the 98% of Americans who make less than $250,000 a year. And that makes no sense.
Such a prospect has spooked global markets with big falls this week, a reminder of the US economy's importance to the world. So now, riding high on re-election euphoria, Democrats claim a popular mandate. The president insists on higher tax rates on the wealthiest Americans. But that's a no-go for Republicans, who know the president can't get much done without them. They say they will be led by him. But their position is firm.
The number one issue in the election was about the economy and jobs. Everyone wants to get our economy moving again. Everyone wants to get more Americans back to work again. Raising tax rates will slow down our ability to create the jobs that everyone says they want.
The George Bush administration had a very significant tax cut voted a bit more than 10 years ago. They voted it just for 10 years. So the tax cut is expiring at the end of this year. And as the tax cut was very significant, if it's not reconducted in some form, it will be a significant downward shock to the U.S. economy, and gridlock in Congress has not enabled the U.S. Political system to agree on follow-up legislation that would reconduct or continue at least some of the measures of this tax cut.